Hello, hello, everybody. Happy Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. I am here with my play partner in crime, Kirsten, also known as Leia. Hi, Kirsten.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me.
And I will be your Jedi Master, Gary Ware, here. And we are going to be talking about Star Wars and Star Wars lessons as it pertains to being better at your job, better culture, all of that stuff. So yes, pull up a seat, join us. Please engage in the comments. Let us know if you are joining live or if you're watching the replay. We'll jump back in and engage with all those later. But yes, we are so excited. In case you can't tell, I think I'm over there. I like Star Wars. Kirsten has her Darth Vader standee. She has her mugs. And yes, so please let us know where you are dialing in from, what planet you're broadcasting this from. And yes, and we have our buddy Kathy, close guest here. Yay!
Not so far away from you.
Right? All right. So, Kirsten.
Yes.
Are you ready?
I'm so ready to play.
Right? Yes, we're going to be playing around. And hold on real quick. I'm trying to get all of my stuff set up so I can see everything and see when people leave comments and who's around.
And Maxine's already here. Planet Los Angeles.
All right.
California.
Right? Yes, and we have Michael. Michael Warburton. What's happening? Yes, from the Warburton system. I love it. All right.
Silicon Valley. Excellent.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm loving these people who are synchronized on the loving the theme.
Right?
Theme.
So, as it pertains to being the best version of yourself and creating amazing cultures and systems for growth, ain't nothing like Star Wars, because there's so much wisdom in there. So regardless of your affinity for Star Wars, whether you're old school or new school, there's so much here. And you know what, Mike Alton, you're not getting into a trap. It is all good here. But we are going to jump into some of our favorite Star Wars quotes and what is the bigger lesson behind it. And so let's light speed away. And the very first one is one of my favorite quotes, and this is by Master Yoda, and that is: fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering. And fear is a path to the dark side. And what that means in relation to sort of, work and being better at your job and stuff like that is, don't let fear impact your life, impact crucial decisions. Because when you're acting out of fear, you're probably going to make rash choices. Drop in the neuroscience here. When you're acting out of fear, you're activating the sympathetic nervous system, the fight, flight, or freeze. You're going to be pumping yourself full of cortisol and adrenaline, which leads to rash decisions, short-term memory loss. And yeah, it's no wonder why Darth Vader and the Emperor ended up, losing how many Death Stars? 2? So, how can you lead with empathy? How can you lead with love? Kirsten, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I totally 100% agree. I'm glad we started with the fear. I think it's very relevant to the world we're living in. There is a lot of fear mongering going on. And it even is in the workplace. Like, you must come back. This is the only way, the one way. And so I think that when we can be more empathetic to people's needs, and we are looking at the bigger, more holistic picture, and about the anger piece, fear leading to anger. We see a lot of that divisiveness, even in the workplace, taking out the political side, but in the workplace, it can definitely be destructive and less efficient and less productive. And so if that's the goal, then yeah, keep fear out of the workplace.
Yes. And so, Kirsten, over to you. Which one are you rolling with?
Yeah, so like close my eyes, dip my hands in here, see which one will we play next. Well, I really like, one of the quotes I liked was maybe, let's see, trust goes both ways.
Ooh,
so when we're shifting to more remote work, that I just mentioned about that trust piece. So that was Jen Erso, and I really feel like we need these environments where we have trust going both ways. And I heard horror stories from people, being monitored, when they're on their computers at work, like how much time are they, oh, I can't go for a walk outside because I'm being monitored. Am I at my desk at all times, even in a work from home setting? You must come in so we can see your face. And then they're still working. They're still on Zoom. They're still on Teams at work when they could be doing it at home, and then having that 1 hour commute. So I feel like that is really about a lack of trust with the remote work situation. And so what did you think of when you saw that quote or heard that quote for the first time?
Yeah. It's one of those things where if you're an emerging leader, oftentimes, you want to do the best that you can. And you often think, all right, you know what? I got to do it this way. I got to, I have a very specific way of doing it, and you don't trust your team to do the best that they can. And that's one of the things. If you want them to trust you as a leader, you have to trust them that they are going to do it to the best of their ability. And without that trust, we can't get things done.
Yeah, exactly. Or not as efficiently. And yeah, we've got to model it.
Yes, right? Yes, and
less micromanagement in the universe.
Yes, and hello, Angela. Awesome. Happy May 4th to you. Happy Star Wars Day. And Kathy says, yes, trust we need. Yes. All right, cool. Oh my gosh. And if you have any thoughts on these, we have been talking about fear is the path to the dark side. And we just touched on trust and how it goes both ways. Love to hear your thoughts. So feel free to chime into the comments. Let us know. Do you have any sort of tidbits of wisdom that you would like to share? And as we go through our list of things that we can learn from the world of Star Wars to honor this Star Wars Day, May the 4th. This one this next quote is something that especially I've been learning to embrace. And so this one is all about, so this one came, so to give you some context, this one is all about Leia said this to Han. You came in that thing. You're braver than I thought. And again, she's talking about the Millennium Falcon, and oftentimes we think we need to have the biggest, shiniest, best thing to do our best work. But sometimes it's all about just taking that imperfect action and using that trusty tool that's always worked. I know when the pandemic first started and I went from doing workshops and things like this to virtual, all I had was my laptop and my Logitech camera. I didn't have any of the fancy equipment at first, and I felt like, all right, is this good enough? Is this going to work? And you got to start somewhere. And what do you think, Kirsten?
Yeah, I think that you were playing with creative constraints. And sometimes, when I do workshops around creativity or innovation, using Lego or not using Lego, that is one of the things we play with. And when we have these constraints, surprisingly, sometimes we're more creative than when we have all the resources at our disposal. So I loved that. And I loved the humor, of course. Kathy will love that too. But the humor in that, the cheeky humor of giving, like you came in that you're braver than I thought. I thought it also played with that theme of, bringing how that can really be a positive influence at the workplace.
Yes. Cool. And so over to you. What's next?
Oh, right. Okay. Well, I like this one, and maybe this is not. Maybe I should be going in order because I know you have some quotes queued up. So let me know, Gary, if you want me to.
It's all good. We're cool. We're just flowing.
We're going
We're
all
flowing through the galaxy.
Okay. All right. So there is one called "The ability to speak does not make you intelligent," and I thought, well, this, in the speaking world, there is a lot of people up on stage that sometimes saying lots of good stuff and sometimes not so much. And we've all had those bosses, right, that have just like kept talking and not doing any active listening. There's no curiosity. They're not being clear in their communication, or you've been in a meeting where one person is doing 80% of the talking. So I feel like, just because you're talking does not make you intelligent. It's very appropriate for the workplace to keep in mind.
Yes.
What about you? Have you seen that in action?
And so I'm going to put the previous one back up because
right,
I believe Maxine wanted to see that, was curious. I think this was the quote that you were thinking of. If not, let us know. We will happily put it back up there. But again, going back onto your point about the ability to speak does not make you intelligent. And yes, active listening is important because you know what they say, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we should listen twice as much more than we talk. And it's especially as people that are emerging leaders. I know I'm speaking from experience. So this is where this is coming from. But I remember in the early days of wanting to be, perceived as, someone that is a thought leader or someone that knows what they're talking about. I mistook, that whole thing of needing to speak more as a way to show my intelligence instead of, really looking at the people that we admire, the people that are extraordinary leaders. They tend to speak less. And another thing that they do is they ask thoughtful questions.
Absolutely. Yeah. And especially, you and I both come from the coaching world and the facilitating world. And that's where curiosity is a superpower, right? Where you are asking these super excellent questions. There, I see Julie wrote a really, it kind of goes back to the dark side, but there's a really great comment there from Julie as well.
Yes. Do you mind paraphrasing that? Because my vision, the force is not strong with this one. I can barely read it without expanding my screen.
I got it. Yeah. See, so just thinking about a teammate that shared the light and the dark side of us is where resistance shows up. Dark fear, struggle, pain, sacrifice, terror, distrust, doom, gloom, very Star Wars imagery there. And on the flip side, we also have our light self, which is resilience. And this is when we have willingness, discipline, dreams, and we focus on the journey. We operate with trust and faith as opposed to fear. I love that. And it reminds me of doing some kind of shadow work as well. Like when we look at our strengths and looking like what is the flip side of our strength as well, of the dark side of our strengths.
Yes. Oh, I love it. I love it. So yes, such amazing things. And please keep your comments coming. It is Star Wars Day, and we are talking about the wisdom of Star Wars as it pertains to being a better leader, being a better employee, having a better world of work. So is it my turn or is it your turn?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah. What's another one you got?
All right. There? So this one is for and yes, Michael, Julie is Jedi status. She has the rank of master. That is correct.
I think everyone in this room qualifies by showing up, right? Like the Jedi training it's definitely happened here already.
And then this one is for Michael because he was wondering about a Jar Jar quote. And here we go. Gungan's no dying without a fight. This one, this one, I had to throw this one up there. This is one for you, Michael. Are you willing to fight for what is right? We, we're in this interesting stage now where, we went from more of an industrial mindset where you go to work, it's like the Jetsons, you're pushing a button, you're creating widgets, you're doing something that's very sort of technical, but again, there's no room for creativity. And we've shifted to more of this, sort of knowledge mindset, knowledge way of being, where there is a lot of uncertainty. And to be honest, it is requiring a lot of us to really fight for what we believe is right. If we don't think that the old way is working, are we willing to speak up? If we see people that we work with being mistreated, are we willing to speak up? And that is something that is important. Kirsten.
Well, I have another quote that kind of ties into your Jar Jar quote. So I feel like these two are really tied together that I found, which was Obi-Wan Kenobi's from A New Hope, where he says, "Who's the more foolish, the fool or the fool who follows him?" So I think like that's definitely tied into the we're not going to die without a fight. So that really reminded me of the Great Resignation, people leaving toxic bosses and workplaces, and where they don't feel they're valued or they have a values misalignment. So I think now is the time where we are seeing the evidence of what happens when we ignore what's important to people and who's around us. Like, what ship do you really want to be on? Like, where are you going to feel your best? Where are you going to be your best? When you compare the dark side and the light side, the resistance and the Imperial. I think I choose the collaborative. Safer.
Yes.
Yeah,
agreed. And this is one of the things where maybe we do need a rebellion.
A playful rebellion, perhaps.
A playful rebellion, huh? Anywho, and so thank you for that quote, Kirsten. And again, just to repeat, if you have some of your favorite Star Wars quotes, put them into the chat. Kathy's asking for a request. Favorite Princess Leia quote.
I do have a Padme, her mom, a quote.
Oh yeah,
and it kind of ties back to what we were just talking about, which was standing up for what's right. So this is how liberty dies, with thunderous applause. And I think that quote has been used frequently. I've seen that come up a lot, in the world, like in the global stage. But I think it also could apply to work, where we are letting things go. We're letting things just kind of like democratic decisions versus autocratic. The squabbling that can happen and fear mongering leading to like that authoritarian control. So it may be, a relative of Princess Leia.
Right.
So that's as close as I got, but it definitely ties back to our previous conversation there.
Yes. So that was a good one. And moving on, maybe it was better to go in order, but I feel like it's more fun.
You're doing very well pulling up these quotes from all over the place.
Yeah, right. So Kathy is down for it. She loves it. Awesome quote. And so where are we in our list? All right, cool. So
your focus.
Yes. So you had talked about it, and I want to go back. Is the ability to bring up humor, especially in stressful situations. And so this is a Han Solo quote. One thing's for sure, we're all gonna be a lot thinner. This is when they were in that trash compactor. And it looked like things were kind of bleak for our heroes here. And yes, they managed to get out. Spoiler alert. But it's one of those things where, especially when things are stressful, we we think that we have to be ultra serious. And when we are being ultra serious, again throwing the neuroscience back in, we are turning our creativity, our prefrontal cortex offline, because we are running from the amygdala, from our lizard brain, and it's not going to help us get out of stressful situations. It's not going to help us come up with new and novel ideas. And again, this is one of those things about sort of rebelling against the old way of doing work. Because I know in sort of the old way, you had to be uber serious at work. There was no place for any sort of goofing around or humor or anything like that. But in the new way, we realized that there is a place for humor. And in the chat, we have a number of play and humor practitioners that can drop some knowledge bombs on you. But something that I've learned and I reference a lot is a colleague of ours, Andrew Tarvin. He talks about the humor map. Map's an acronym to help you understand, the place for humor. And M is for method, A is for audience, and P is for purpose. So if you really start to figure out, all right, what's my method of developing, of delivering this humor? Is it in an email, or is it on some slides, or is it, a little quip? Who's the audience? And what's the purpose? Is the purpose to help lighten the situation because we're all stressed and we need to sort of move on? Is it to again, use this sparingly, but maybe make fun of myself as a way to show that, hey, look, I'm just human too. That is a great way to use humor in the appropriate way. What are your thoughts on that, Kirsten?
Absolutely, Han, one of my favorite characters. And now when I was going back to that scene of them being in the compactor, and I'm like, yeah, if we want to, we talk about like breaking free of the box, like the box of thinking. Well, now we can just think, instead of thinking about breaking free of the box, we can think about breaking free from the garbage compactor. So all the problems piling in on us like garbage. It's like, let's break free with humor and like have these creative novel ideas, as you say, through humor, and at the same time reducing stress by bringing in some lighter perspectives and different perspectives than the way we've been viewing things in the status quo. So perhaps that is how we need to be looking at a lot of the challenges that we're facing right now, with adding a big dose of humor.
Yes. Oh, all right.
Layer it on.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So guess what? We ask and we shall receive, because now we have some amazing quotes that we can play off of. Here's one from our friend Michael McDonald. The greatest teacher failure is Luke. Luke. We are what they grow beyond. That is the true burden of all masters. And that was by Yoda. And great point. Thank you for that. And failure is something, again, the old way of doing work was more on extrinsic motivators and how they use failure as a way of getting people to comply. You made a mistake, you're done, or it's not a good thing. However, if you want to be creative, if you want to be innovative, this is where we learn from our failures. We in improv, where I've done a lot of studying, we say failure is a gift. So, Michael, thank you so much for this quote. What are your thoughts on this quote, Kirsten?
Well, I just wanted to tie it to Kathy's quote that she put in, because I feel like the two are super tied together around failure. Kathy found her own Leia quote. Someday you're going to be wrong, and I just hope I'm there to see it, from The Empire Strikes Back to Han Solo. So I love both of those, right? Like, I hope I'm there to see it really reminds me of, I hope I'm there to cheer you on. And, like, who's got your back at work? Who has your back? I look to you, Gary. You've got my back. I know you're always there for me. Who's on your team that's going to lift you up and say, look, you made a mistake. And what are we going to learn? What are we going to pull out from this? And how are we going to move forwards?
Yes. Which
Stephen.
Awesome comments from Steven about getting out of that trash compactor. Hopefully you have your Beskar armor on. That is a Mandalorian reference. And again, I like to say, what if we swapped the armor of not being ourselves, and the armor that we need is the armor of the people that have our back. And if I can't get out of the trash compactor, I hope that I can ping my buddy Steven for help, which he's helped me numerous times before, or someone like Kathy or Kirsten. But yeah, who has your back that's going to help you get out of a stinky situation? That's important.
10 times as strong as the armor.
Right?
Having people behind you to support you. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, cool. So I think I picked the last one, last couple. Your turn.
Okay. Let's see. I like this one. It's never too late to do the right thing. We were talking about Darth Vader supporting Luke and Lando turning on the Empire. But I also felt like that references how, not a direct quote, but it was about ageism. Ageism in the workplace. And maybe it's because of my age that I am, really aware of how we have ageism for both the very young with less experience and the people at the other end of the spectrum, and how, it is never too late. And we're all contributing. Like Yoda was underestimated based on his size and age. And, I feel like that really ties into this. And you're like, who are we not including? And a part of psychological safety is inclusion. Are we bringing all the views? Are we bringing the full, diversity of who is in the organization to the table to contribute to the, it's the opposite when you look at the dark side versus the light. Everyone was standing around talking about how are we going to get through this battle? How are we going to get through this war? Contributing all their ideas, a diversity of ideas from different planets, different species, different ages. And then when you look at, the autocratic, Darth Vader or the Imperial, all of that, it was like one viewpoint. So
yes,
I feel like this ties into ageism and diversity of thought. So what were you had some more thoughts around that, especially Lando?
Well, of the whole thing of, the old way of thinking is, I made a mistake. I can't, you can't change, the whole thought of, that person, it's, very sort of closed mind thinking. It's not a growth mindset. I believe that everyone has the potential to have a growth mindset. And, maybe there was that person that you worked with that betrayed you, like Lando did, to Luke and Han and all of them by bringing the Emperor in. What if you have this belief that people can change and create an environment where maybe they can do better? An interesting fact about that, I'm trying to think of the specifics. So, that's what it was. So I was reading Culture Code, amazing book, and they were talking about the acquisition of Pixar from Disney, and how John Lasseter and company, they went to Disney animated studios to help them right the ship, and it's been like a decade since they've had any hits, and they, without changing staff at all, they just recreated the environment to create an environment where they can all thrive. They ended up making a whole bunch of hits, Zootopia, Frozen, Tangled. All of those came from that same group of animators. And so it's one of those things to, when you believe that people can shift, they are capable of it. That's when, magical things can happen.
Yeah. They had faith in them.
Yes.
Good.
So, is it my turn or is it your turn?
Yeah. No. I was just looking at this quote Michael put up there, though. Let the Wookiee win, C3PO. And I thought that's funny. Like trying to relate that back to the workplace. But I kind of feel like we could relate it back to that whole, like who hasn't had a win? Who hasn't had a win lately? Who do we need to support? So that was kind of my interpretation. Oh, and
Agreed.
Maxine's added one.
Yeah. So like, I agree 100% on that. And some of the things that we do when we do our trainings, it's a game. It's called hype person. And so
Yeah.
in that person, you ask questions, and then the person answers it, and then there's the hype person that is hearing everything, and then they're amplifying it. And when I was doing this with the sales organization, that things that they realized that they were um, too inward. They focus more on themselves, and they realize that, you know what, I should be amplifying someone else. It's not all about me. And so yeah, great point about sharing. Sharing the amplification. Who can we highlight, because again, it's all about being an ensemble. In improv, we talk about the phrase "we is greater than me," and so yeah, so I love that.
Yeah, creating those cultures of appreciation and recognition, and yeah, that hype game is one that we use in that. And if you're looking at, like Maxine will tell you, like if you want that customer experience amplified, you better amplify that employee experience, so
Right.
everyone feels equally valued. Yeah.
Yes. So, and then if you're watching this live or the replay, there's so many talented, talk about sharing the wins. So many talented people in the comments right now. Seriously, go and DM them, connect with them. I believe rising tides raise all ships. There is something for everyone in this mix here. So again, this is Star Wars Day. We are celebrating the best way that we know how by talking about the wisdom from Star Wars and how it applies to work, and how you can be a better employee, how you can create a better world of work, a better leader, and parlaying the stuff from Star Wars. And I love that we have so much engagement in the chat. Oh, this is amazing. And so, yes, all about making your partner look good. Thank you for that, Michael. So here we go. Here we go. What do we got here? What do we got here? Uh, yes.
This is oh, magic. Is it going to be Star Wars magic?
Uh,
The magic hand.
I know, right? I don't know. Maybe.
We have another quote here. Oh yeah, where it was about only a Sith deals in absolutes. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yes.
And yeah, that was a great one for embracing the uncertainty, because that is something we have been dealing with a lot over the last 2 years, of people that thought it had to be a certain way, that things always had to travel in this direction. I'm doing a closing keynote for the Supply Chain Association coming up, and they're talking about, we always thought that it had to, the merchandise had to go from point A to point B, and then we had to reinvent things. We had to completely reimagine how we moved goods around. And there's countless examples of how companies have pivoted and did not deal in these absolutes because they just wouldn't survive.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That reminds me of like, hey, is this the mountain that you're going to die on? Sort of situation of, of just being so specific. Like, yes, it has to go this way. It has to go this way. And you are so close-minded, you miss the opportunity to, see something pretty awesome. And I don't know who this is, because I don't think I'm connected with them. That's why I don't see their profile. But someone wants to do the magic hand thing. And I'm not sure what the magic hand thing is. So please elaborate.
I thought it was someone who knew you, because you do all kinds of
I
magic.
do magic, and so I'm not 100% sure what they're talking about. So please elaborate in the chat. But back over to Angela about needing a win, and she mentions that it makes her think of the From a Certain Point of View books. Awesome. Switch the script. Yes, I love that. Yeah, change the scene from a new perspective. That is exactly it. That's so if you find yourself dealing in absolutes where the worst thing that anyone can say is, well, that's we've done it this way, and we need to continue doing it this way. You know that you're in that place, and that's probably, it's time to change up your scenery. It's probably time to change up the way that you see things, because if you change the way that you see things, the things that you see change. I'm
Right.
botching these quotes here, but
That's all
that's
okay.
basically what it means.
I wanted to
Uh,
bring that back to improv too.
yes,
Just Angela mentioning the script and how, none of us have a script for life, but yet we seem to think like we're operating with a script at work, like best practices. And really, like if we do have that more improv mindset and we are, making up new solutions and creating new solutions on the fly, we are going to be more creative, more innovative. We're going to, our products, our services, the way our processes are all going to be improved because we're always looking at, how we can do this differently, what's working, what's not, instead of just going with that static, absolute script.
yes, and which reminds me of one that we have not covered, I don't believe, but this is a classic. This is a goodie by
Yeah.
Yoda. Do or do
Oh,
not.
yes.
There is no try. Far too often, because there's the uncertainty, because we are afraid of making mistakes, because we maybe have done things a certain way before, we get in this paralysis. And that quote, do or do not, there is no try, is all about, you know what, do it or don't. Make a choice. Because like, oh, I'm gonna try to do it, like at that point you're not affirmative, like you're a little bit still on the fence, and there's a chance that you might not put your best foot forward. So either decide yes, we're gonna do it, or decide no, we're not gonna do it, but make a choice and be open again to making mistakes.
Do or not, do not. There is no try.
Oh,
It's like, oh,
yes.
but I was thinking, people get frozen in indecision. I can get frozen in indecision, and that does come from that place of, I think there's two, but there's the perfectionism, right? Like not playing with all the possibilities, and then the fear of making the wrong decision, right? Oh, now you're on to the next quote.
Sorry, I put up the thing so I can see what they said, and now I know what. All right, thank you. All right,
Right.
keep going, Kirsten. Keep going. Keep going.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah. So I was just thinking about that, how we can get stuck in indecision, like not making a choice because we are afraid of making the wrong choice, and then just letting go of that other choice.
Yes.
So yeah, the magic hand. Go ahead.
Yes, and that's from the Mandalorian.
Right.
Yes. Oh my God. Okay. Yes. Okay. All right. So, I thought I thought they were talking about me,
Doing actual
because,
magic.
but what they're talking about is, hold on.
We got a prop for this.
They're talking about Grogu and when he was doing the magic hand thing. Oh my gosh. So again, all right. So all right, there's some stuff here. There's some stuff here with that that we can take back. So sometimes people in your organization, it seems like they're doing magic. Like they come in and they do some stuff, and then you're like, do that magic hand thing. Our team isn't working. Come in, and do the magic. And is it that they know magic, or is it all about creating an environment where people can win? And then also, sometimes we put too much pressure on our superstars to be repeaters, and then that's how they get the indecision and stuff like that. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I love that interpretation and pull back to the workplace. That's an awesome impromptu pull, and I congratulate that one. And I think we have a team of magicians, teams of magicians at work, and going back to those underutilized strengths that may not have been, like the Wookiee comment. Like whose strengths are we not, like the hairy guy, right? Like, is he getting ignored? So I think like we need to be looking for the magic within everybody. And it's not just one person that holds all the magic. It's not necessarily the leader, the magic is within everybody.
Yes. We
Yeah,
all have the magic hand thing in us.
that's right. We've all got the magic
And
hand.
so that's a great point on like focusing on strengths. And the person who said it was my friend Jonathan. So hello Jonathan, happy Star Wars Day. I appreciate that. And it is in true Jonathan nature to throw some deep cuts like that. So I appreciate you. Um Kirsten, we're almost out of time.
Okay,
I think we have a few more, but before we
just a
do,
couple. Yeah.
um, want to throw it over to those who are watching. We've been throwing all the wisdom from Star Wars into how it pertains to work and being the best version of yourself. What are you going to run with? What are you going to play with? Please put it into the chat. We love to know because again, this is very enjoyable for me, and it looks like Kirsten's having a good time too. But it should go a little bit deeper than that. How are you going to play with some of this stuff so that you can make that personal breakthrough and be the best version of yourself? So, but yes, Kirsten, what is
So we have time for a couple more. One that I don't think we've had really any Darth Vader quotes because he's not usually the most inspiring. He's like the anti-hero. So, but the classic line, probably as iconic as "Do or Do Not." There is no try is I find your lack of faith disturbing. Darth Vader, A New Hope. And so I thought, we could really flip that to be a positive, like not you must believe in me. I am the source of all knowledge. I am the one who rules them all. There's a blend of two movies there. But just some realistic optimism, like holding on to hope, because if we don't have hope, that things will change, that things will get better. If we're not, seeking to create change, then we're not going to get through this. So just from a resilience perspective, having hope, which, name of the movie, speaks to realistic optimism. And one of the things I talk about in resilience workshops is the Stockdale Paradox, which goes back to this general that was a prisoner of war. And he talked about how these people that were purely optimists, that were like, we're going to get out by Christmas for sure. And then Christmas comes around out of their prison camp and they are not out by Christmas. They were devastated the most. And yet the people that were like, we will get out, we just don't know when, they survived the best. Their mental health was the best. So just, from a resilience perspective, since, we're all in the thick of that, I thought, having faith and hope that things will improve relates to work for sure.
Yes. And also to that point, if you don't have faith, get the hell out of there.
Right. It's time to go.
It's time to go. Like,
get on that shuttle.
Yeah, right? It's a trap or whatever.
Yeah, it's a trap.
Because one of the things that it makes me think of is those people that are just being like sort of what's the nice way of putting it? I don't know why they're still there. They should have left a long time ago. However, they don't believe anything's going to change, and they are bringing everyone else's mojo down. So, yeah. And it's important to go like, yeah, find your lack of faith disturbing. As in, hey, are you for this or not? So,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love that Angela brought up, I think earlier in the chat, there was a comment about being vulnerable with who you are at work. You're being your authentic self. And so now, like, just talking about being more geeky in public and you're just having more fun, and life's short. So let's play. I mean, I think, you and I and a lot of people on this call can really get on board with that of, just being us, and even at work, even if it means showing our geeky side, our nerd side, as Gary and I are doing today. I'm wearing my Princess Leia skirt, even if you can't see it. I'm wearing it for myself today.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
And so one thing Angela had talked about, actually, forgive me, Kathy had mentioned that we all have the potential to have the light and the dark, and to be angry is to be human. And this is a really great point about, you know what? Sometimes we're a jerk, and sometimes we're not. And if you suppress that, you know, yeah, I think bad things can happen. I talk about in my work from the book Creativity Inc. Ed Catmull, you know, from Pixar, he talks about you know, when they have their brain trust, you know, they have this sort of eruption, you know, and they have, you know, candor, and they have all of these things, and sometimes, yes, they argue, but they do it in the right context, and they try to keep it about the work and not about people individually. And through that, some amazing things can happen, because I feel like on the flip side, yes, we have the toxic work environments, but we also have the positive positive toxicity,
Toxic positivity.
toxic positivity. Got to
Yeah.
flip it on its head, where no one is saying anything bad, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, everything's fine, everything's fine."
Yeah.
And
Rose-colored glasses. Yeah.
yeah, and those are both situations of lack of psychological safety.
Yeah.
You know, because if you have a high level of psychological safety, you don't have a problem really speaking your mind and talking about when things are not going, you know, as planned.
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah,
yeah, I really, really thought that was to be angry is to be human quote is essential for work, because emotions at work have so often been kept outside of work, that we have said, you know, like no emotions at work, you know, like you must come in as droids, you know, like we're not droids at work. You like to go back to the, you know, like, we are human. And so we do get angry, and it's how are we going to express that? You know, like what is our emotional regulation? Do we have those tools in our toolbox for regulating those emotions and having the emotional agility? Another great book. You know, to look at the emotions and not say this is a bad, you know, like this emotion is wrong, I shouldn't be having it, I must get rid of it, but using it as a signpost, you know, like what is this emotion telling me? Where, you know, what do I need to change? What crucial conversation do I need to have? So these emotions are essential, and so thanks to Padme for bringing that up into today's conversation about Star Wars at work.
yes, and so this is our last quote. Our
Oh
time.
no, we have two. We have two quotes.
We have
So
two.
yes, we have two. We got well. First, because can I share the screen for
Oh,
this picture,
oh yeah. Do that one, and then we'll do the last one.
and
Yes,
then we'll
yes.
do the
Forgive me.
last one, the play one.
Thank you.
Because this one is kind of funny. Uh, unfortunately, got the whole screen. So strong people don't put others down; they lift them up.
Yes. Sorry, I can't zoom in on that.
That's
But
okay. I'm going
yes.
to stop sharing it. You've seen it.
Yeah.
Just a quick look at that. But that Darth Vader, like lifting, you know, we've talked already about like no room for errors, you know, not having space to make mistakes, you know, like not having curiosity, not having those diverse perspectives. So that imagery of Darth Vader, you know, holding up his employee who dared to make a mistake, I just thought was the epitome of lack of psychological safety. And so when I talk about, you know, like Boeing planes, you know, having, you know, deathly consequences of not having psychological safety, you know, this imagery is also like, you know, what type of leader do you want to be in your workplace? And that is, yeah, not the kind you want. So bringing it around to psychological safety, definitely a part of the Star Wars universe there.
Oh yeah, for sure. And so before we throw our last quote, our last bit of Star Wars wisdom out to you, on how you can be the best version of yourself, and you know, create a better world of work, please let us know in the comments, regardless if you're watching this live or the replay. Which one was your favorite? Which one are you going to roll with? What is going to be your sort of intention, like your little fortune cookie that you're going to take with you?
Yeah. Did you write anything down? Did you write down any tidbits? Any Jedi wisdom?
Right.
Yeah.
Share this with your friends, your coworkers, even your enemies. Again, everyone has the ability to change, because you know, we need to rebel against the old way of working. The Empire must not win, and we must be that light that is, you know, guiding people towards the playful, towards the good. And without further ado, here is our very last quote of the day, and that is, Truly Wonderful, The Mind of a Child Is by Yoda.
Yeah, that was an attack of the clones.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what does that
I
mean to you?
love this one because you and I are big play people. The importance of creativity, of imagination, of playfulness, of openness of a child. The mind of a child is agile, constantly bringing new information in, that curiosity, the wonder, the awe at the universe. And yeah, so I thought this was a perfect one to end on because this is who we are. And this is when we're at our best selves and we're at work and we bring that into the workplace. What if workplaces had more of that?
Agreed. Right?
Yeah.
And in the work that I do, I talk about the difference between childlike and childish. We want childlike behavior, and that is, as Kirsten eloquently put it, curiosity, wonder, collaboration, imagination. All of those things are going to help propel us into, a land far, far away. But help us again create these amazing groups where we can thrive. And I feel like the childish behavior is the dark side of the force. That is the tantrums, that is being selfish, that, is putting others down. But play is, the elixir, the way that we can really bring out all of that. And
like Kathy said, we have both within us, right? Just like we were all children, we all have the force, we all have the dark and the light, and which path will we follow?
Yes. And so it has been an honor to play with you all. And Kirsten, it's an honor to play with you too. This has been such an amazing Star Wars day. But before we sign off this transmission from this playful rebel base, Kirsten, please let everyone know how they can stay in touch with you, how they can find your beacon, because you are truly a Jedi.
Oh, thank you from the Jedi Master. Yes, I'm glad I'm not just a little hologram shaking in and out. I am a real person that can come to you in real life or virtually. And most people find me on social at Kirsten Playing. So Kirsten Playing. But I know a lot of the people here in the chat. So I'm on LinkedIn a lot. That's one of my favorite universes to play in.
Yay! And I am Gary Ware. You can find me right here where you are right now. So if we're not connected, please say hi. This has been awesome. And happy Star Wars Day. I'm trying to get all these comments up. You all are amazing. Thank you for spending almost an hour of your time playing with us.
May the Force be with all of you.
Yes, and may the Fourth be with you. And until next time, play well, y'all.